Perhaps the most unfortunate aspect of this entire affair is how it reduced my arguments to one figure, Heinrich Schenker, when in fact, my arguments extend far beyond this one person and his legacy. In this sense, Schenker has become a straw man.
Schenker's a straw man. If they can make it all about Schenker, if they can invoke the early 20th century fact that people were all like that in certain parts of the world, if they can invoke his Jewishness and say, well, yeah, Jews were really horribly treated, totally true. They have a pattern, contextualize the horribleness, invoke Jewishness, and then create a wall between his music ideas and his racial ideas. This person is a very problematic figure for many reasons. He was a German nationalist. He wrote and said many horrible things about many people. He believed in hierarchies of peoples and races, wrote very explicitly about that. It's one thing to suggest that there are tonal layers and hierarchical structures in a piece of music. It's something quite different to write very prolifically about the hierarchies of race and how everything is one worldview, as Heinrich Schenker did. Schenker provides an explicit link between European white supremacy and American music theory. One is just a mirror of the other.
And He was extremely hateful and angry and anti-Semitic. He was Jewish himself, yet he was quite anti-Semitic. He was anti-woman. He had many sexist comments. Certain conservative figures have questioned my linking of his hierarchical racial thinking with his hierarchical musical thinking. But it always seemed a little unseemly to me to just completely erase all of the racism and the hate and the anger, especially because Schenker very clearly said himself, please don't erase the racism when you teach my musical ideas. They're part of the same system.
The only defense that people make of Heinrich Schenker is, well, that was a different time. We don't really need to think about that, right? The past is the past, which is a very common theme. And I'm simply pointing out, let's not erase it anymore. Let's talk about it. Our students deserve to know.
There were only 12 true genius composers to Heinrich Schenker. In his mind, of course, they were all white cisgender men. You can sum up his linear thinking, his prolongational thinking by simply saying, play through the phrase. Who among us hasn't said, you have to play through the phrase. You shouldn't be thinking about 1 second to the next second. So in that sense, there's really nothing that special about Heinrich Schenker.
It makes sense to me that in the 30s, when the Ku Klux Klan enjoyed possibly over half of America of support, it makes perfect sense that they would choose someone whose beliefs mirrored their own, because that's what America believed. Why should we music theorists be exceptional?
The separation of Schenker's horrific beliefs about people versus his somewhat useful ideas about music, admittedly, has in fact caused a situation whereby in the United States, we have created very hostile environments in our music classrooms for people who do not identify as white cisgender men, preferably straight.
Is that virtually every music program in the United States was founded on the very same white male assimilationist models that were so clearly articulated in this journal issue.
It's not about Schenker. Goodness gracious. Schenker is a straw man.